I bought a Bryce Comics mystery box, and I live to tell about it. Let's go into it next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hey there, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. Before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe, do all that great stuff. Instagram, Bronzeville_comics, Whatnot, Bronzeville_comics. And if you look at the description of this video, there'll be a link to sign up on Whatnot. If you haven't yet done so, you get $10 off your first purchase. Also, link to my eBay store as well as my email. So let's get right into it. There was a big controversy over the last week about the Bryce Comics mystery boxes with a Dell Otto variant. And it was weird. I was looking at the analytics of my channel to see which videos had gotten a number of views recently. And usually it's the videos from last month, maybe two. They get a lot of videos. And all of a sudden there was a video from like 8 or 9 months ago that was the third most watched video in a 48-hour period. I'm like, what is going on with that? It turns out that last year I bought a Bryce Comics mystery box. I actually bought 2 mystery boxes. And I guess what happened was that a YouTuber used a screenshot of my thumbnail for that video in his video, amongst others, talking about some, poor schmucks who opened these mystery boxes and didn't really get the value that they wanted. Okay? And it was all in a way to attack Bryce Comics. So let me just kind of go over everything. And I tried to keep things positive on this channel. I don't like to deal in negativity. So I felt as though since my video was used as an example, I want to give the full story. Right. So the most recent thing is, and he's done this several times, where Bry offers these mystery boxes of slabs with some grand prizes. And it's very similar to people. There are a number of people on Instagram, basically, who do raffles. They'll take a big time book, let's say a $10,000 book, just for the sake of argument, put in 100 raffles at $100 a piece. They'll have the numbers, they'll randomize it, and one person will win. This wasn't dissimilar to that, but the difference was it was done in a mystery box format, such that you were guaranteed to get something of some value. The value of what you got may be dubious, but the fact is you were kind of buying in for the chance to win the big prize. And if I remember correctly, there were 3 prizes in that particular mystery box that I bought. It was an Incredible Hulk 181. These were all graded. I don't remember the specific grades. I think it was Giant Size X-Men 1 and an Ultimate Fallout 4. I remember that was a 9.6. So these are all expensive books, and books that it isn't easy for the average collector to buy. So some people will take the gamble. Now, I'm a statistician by trade, so I understand the way that gambling and odds work. Sometimes the odds can work in your favor, right? The house doesn't always win. So, for instance, I was at Terrificon last weekend. While we were waiting for tables for lunch and dinner, I decided to play some video poker. And I just play video poker $1 at a time, just to kind of pass the time. I don't really put a lot into it. But there are people that will play, and there's a certain method of playing when it's a progressive jackpot. When that hits a certain number, then it's in the favor of the player. It's a slight favor, and you have to play repeatedly to win. So, for instance, if it's a $10,000 book that somebody's doing a raffle of, right, and there are 100 raffles, $100 a piece, right? If I buy all 100 raffles, I've guaranteed that I'm going to win. I've spent $10,000. I've gotten $10,000 in the book, so it's a break even, right? So if it was a $12,000 book and there were 100 raffles, $100 each, that's $10,000 that they're collecting. The book's worth $12,000. If I buy all of the raffles, I'm going to be $2,000 ahead, relatively speaking, depending on the fluctuations in the value of the book. So I kind of took a calculated risk. And just because I also thought it was kind of interesting and you also weren't getting nothing. You were getting some value in the slabs that you got. And I did say it was probably a way for him to move a lot of slab inventory that didn't have a great deal of desirability, right? We're talking about those, $50 to $100 slabs. Maybe some people buy them, maybe some people don't. I actually just bought a slab on Bry's Comics Whatnot show on Friday night. And I'm going to unbox it soon. It was an Alex Ross Black Adam variant, #1, which was a really hot book until Dwayne Johnson killed it. And I have a few books like that. But anyway, there's a book that I wanted for the personal collection. The price was good, I felt, even though as the book's been dropping. Anyway, so let's take a look at the most recent controversy. And if you want more background, I was watching I watched the video that Bry did prior to. I watched the video of his explanation of what happened. And I also watched Schweigelhaus did a very good breakdown of exactly from his perspective what went down. And a lot of people decided to just jump on Bry's throat, even though the controversy that was generated is not, I don't think, at all Bry's fault. He commissioned a book from Marvel, wanted a Dell Otto cover. They used artwork that had been used 19 years ago in Italy. The vast majority of collectors did not know that. Someone who's an expert in, I guess, European comic books noticed that it had been used previously. He was familiar with that book and made it public. And then, there became this controversy. So there's one particular channel who I won't name that really lashed out at Bry. And I'm sure there are others. I'm sure there are comments that were very negative. And, the fact of the matter is he created scarcity by destroying the copies in conjunction with CGC that did not get a 9.8 grade. He had 580, I believe it was, copies of the, I think it was 420 copies of the trade dress and 80 virgins, and he kept one of the virgins. And they all got at least 9.8s, some got 9.9s, and there may have even been 10s. I don't think on the virgin. And some of those 9.9s are selling for quite a premium on the secondary market. And Bry did a whole video about that, about whether or not the sales were real. And because basically he charged $250 for the mystery box. I believe you got 2 slabs, one of which was the Dell Otto cover, one of which was another book. And out of the 500 mystery boxes, or 499, I guess, since he kept one, out of 500 mystery boxes, there were 6 grand prizes. There was an Amazing Fantasy 15 and a 1.0. There's Amazing Spider-Man. There was Marvel previews. I think it's 80 with Miles Morales. There were, a couple other big-time books, right? So there would have been 6 out of 499 collectors that would have been thrilled to get that prize. Everybody else was guaranteed this cover. Now, some people may have wanted it. Some people may have been just in it for the prize, but they spent $250. So that's what Bry took in after his expenses, after the 6 big books. And you could estimate the value of those, the fair market value, because they were all graded books. And whatever it cost him to get the book from Marvel, and you have to order, maybe it's 3,000 copies, and he destroyed like 2,500 of them. 3,000 copies, and he was selling the scarcity. Whether you think that's valid or not, I'm not going to judge that. I really don't care. But the fact of the matter is, the people who were jumping down his throat are people who have absolutely nothing invested in this book. I'm pretty sure that the negative commenters, the naysayers, did not buy a mystery box. I did not buy a mystery box this time, right? If I had known that, a $250 investment could have turned into a $5,000 book, maybe I would have thought otherwise. But, I am not huge into the variant cover game. And to me, it probably makes a little more sense to just save money, and rather than trying to win a lottery or a mystery box for a big time key. Sometimes it might be worth it if you think you might get some other stuff in. I've had a couple mystery boxes I've taken chances on. But I've kind of steered clear from mystery boxes because I want to spend my money currently on the things that I want for my personal collection. I want to pick them out individually because I'll get a mystery box and it'll either be stuff that I have or stuff that I don't want. And there are people that want these variant covers. I collect some variant covers. Right now, I will, and I won't necessarily buy the ratios directly. I'll kind of wait to see them in a few months on Whatnot or eBay. I've gotten some. But if you follow the channel, I'm a big Earth 2, Seven Soldiers of Victory fan. So like the Stargirl Lost Children miniseries and the Justice Society series, I've been buying the variants there, right? Because that's like a title that I really enjoy. There aren't that many of them, right? If you go after, some of these Batman or Spider-Man or recently Superman variants, there are like 26 variants just coming out from the publisher, not even including the store variants. Now, the store variants can be good for expensive books, hard to find books if you want to read it, right? Like I picked up when Something Is Killing the Children became really hot, I was picking up the store variants for $5 or $10, right? So that I could read the book. I would rather spend my money on gold, silver, bronze. But that's me. And I've said this before on the channel, the way that you collect is fine. Everybody collects differently, right? If you want to have every variant cover of, Amazing Spider-Man that comes out, good for you. Enjoy it. But the fact of the matter is, too, is a lot of these variants are very flash in the pan. And one of the ones I point to frequently, if you look at the current values of Amazing Spider-Man 55, all those Gleason Webhead variants, they're not really selling anymore. They're not selling for anywhere near the price where they were. And that, of course, was during the midst of the comic boom. But to get back to Bry, whose fault was it? I don't think it was his fault that the art had been used previously. I think that falls on Marvel, and probably it was just something that slipped through the cracks, because probably the people that were in charge of giving Bry, now he said he can't really say much because Marvel has a non-disclosure agreement. They're owned by Disney. Always think of those Simpsons episodes with the Disney lawyers. What he did say was they presented him some options of artwork and he picked one. It was 19 years ago that was used in Italy. I'm pretty sure the person that presented Bry with the options just kind of went through Dell Otto art that they had in stock. Do they pay Dell Otto anymore for this? I don't know. And offered him some options. They probably had nothing. They probably weren't working with the company 19 years ago. They weren't working with what was going on in Marvel's Italy division or whatever it's called 19 years ago. It's just something that there are very few people that would put this piece and that piece together to say, oh, yes, this artwork has been used before. Okay. Certainly it would be unusual for Bry to be, oh, yeah, that was used on an Italian trade paperback. You'd have to have very specific knowledge or just have randomly come across that and who remembers everything. So I think it's manufactured controversy. And I think there are, unfortunately, people in the community that when someone is a big name, they love to go after them. And the fact of the matter is, the video that I'm referring to also talked about Comic Tom and Very Gary as people who push their product on their Whatnot streams, on their YouTube channels. Comic Tom does his mystery mail call. You have the option to buy that or not. I subscribed to it a couple of years ago, had the subscription for maybe 2 years and discontinued it because I wasn't really making use of the books. I'd rather spend that money on something else. But I was perfectly free at any time to buy it or not buy it. Nobody was forcing me to. Very Gary just did another Turtles incentive. He has a relationship Now with Boom Studios, I believe it's a Boom or whoever does the Turtles now. Gary has a personal relationship with artist Ryan Brown. He does variants. Gary has promoted those, and he did it in conjunction with Erod. I bought a copy of the most recent variant from Erod at Terrificon just because I know Erod, just to support him. And what I think people who are collector dealers, right? And I know Bry is, I know Erod is, Gary is. They're collectors kind of before they're dealers, right? They just want to have a product that has their name and their brand on it because that's something that they consider to be a fun part of the hobby for them. Would I like to have like a variant cover, Bronzeville Comics cover? Yeah, maybe that would be cool. But, not something that's at the top of my priority list, but it could be cool at some point just to have that as a collectible for myself and have it out there that other people would collect. And listen, the fact of the matter is Bry charged $250 per mystery box. So he put whatever it cost to grade and to order these comics from Marvel was, let's say, between the grading and ordering from Marvel, it was $50-$60, right? The other slab in there is probably going to cost him $50 to $100. So you're talking about $150 all in. He's charging $250 plus he's putting in those 6 grand prizes, which cost him some money, right? He didn't find an Amazing Fantasy 15 in a shoebox in his attic. That was something he put money into, and in order to bolster the mystery boxes, and he's worked to be very transparent about what he does with his mystery boxes. So either he's very transparent or he's a great swindler. I prefer to think it's the former, that he's trying to be transparent about everything he does, and then he kind of got blindsided by this nonsense that really didn't have anything to do with him. And then again, there are people that just love to jump on and ride the negativity. And my theory is collect what you want. If somebody wants to pay thousands of dollars for that cover in a 9.9, that's their decision, right? I would not. That's not how I collect. That's not what I want. But if somebody's a big Dell Otto fan or whatever their impetus is, one of the things you have to be careful of when you're spending that much money on something that is unproven, if you're trying to do it as an investment, either short-term or long-term, that's a little dangerous because there's a lot of uncertainty around it. Okay. And what happens is all this controversy drawing more attention. He's supposed to do another mystery box with another store exclusive variant in September. It may just bring more interest to his thing. And he's got a following that this stuff sells out pretty quickly, these mystery boxes, because now people are like, oh, maybe I'll get like some sort of virgin 9.9 that'll be worth much more than what I paid for it. And B, I have a chance. You have a better than 1 in 100 chance to win one of those grand prizes. People might be taking advantage of that. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And the fact of the matter is, it really only affected 499 people that bought these mystery boxes. The people who are being negative and venomous about it probably didn't buy one of those mystery boxes. And sure, there are people, myself, I opened the mystery box that I got from him last year. The slabs were underwhelming, let's say. But I knew what I was getting going in. Right? I didn't expect, to get a $500 slab that wasn't one of the grand prizes. Right? I was just, maybe I'll get something that I can, and I've sold 2 of them. So I've done okay in terms of the money that I put into it. And there's still value there, even though I didn't win the grand prize. If you enter a raffle, you don't win the grand prize, you get this, you get nothing, and that's the end of it. Here, you don't win the grand prize. You have something that may have some value. So I'm going to leave the comments up to you. Try to keep it civil. And you can take a look at a couple of my other videos here, including that unboxing of the mystery box. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.